Hearing something negative about yourself as an adult is already hard, but hearing something that's possibly not the most positive about their own child is hard. It's a hard pill to swallow.
It's not a reflection on them. It's just that your child has this set of needs, and we need to figure out a way at school, at home, with the whatever supplemental services to meet those needs.
But no one teaches teachers how to have these difficult conversations.
No. It's all based
And
off
that,
of...
I think, is so wrong.
Yeah.
Because then you could have a teacher who walks in and just walks up to a parent and says it.
Hi guys, welcome back to Brewing Bright Minds. I have Miss Dom here with our special guest, Miss Brooke.
Hello.
In your experience, how have parents responded to you bringing up a concern? Maybe they have never brought something up and it's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But how have you...
It's hard. I mean, it's hard for the teacher. It's hard for the parent to have this conversation. Hearing something negative about yourself as an adult is already hard, but hearing something that's possibly not the most positive about their own child, I don't want to say negative because it's not negative, is hard. It's a hard pill to swallow.
More so uncomfortable, I feel.
Yeah.
It's just something no parent ever wants to hear, that their child isn't meeting their milestones.
Right. Yeah.
But it's so important to know.
Yeah, so I've had many parents in denial, which is the first step. You know, you're going to be in denial, and that's fine. I think the teacher needs to work with them, and I understand. Let's see, they're new to school. Let's see in 2 months if we see any progression. And the teacher needs to document that, and the parent needs to work on it at home, and then in 2 months we meet again. We talk about it again. I've seen no progress. They've seen no progress. Okay, well, maybe you need to see an individual, a professional. Maybe just ask the doctor. And there kind of is a negative stigma around children getting assessed, which I think is completely wrong. I've had so many people go get assessed and then come back, oh, they're great. And then that's just one less thing for a parent to worry about.
Right.
So I think just keep promoting that to the parent. We're a team. We're working together. If we get early intervention, often I have had so many kids get early intervention who don't need it by the age of 6 or 7 and completely have phased out from that. So I think just promoting that. We're a team and we're going to be there together. I've had parents cry to me. I've cried to parents about rough days that we've had, but letting them know, like, it's okay. We're going to get through this together. It's hard. It's going to be hard. But if we catch it now, by 5th grade, we're going to be in a way different place.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think for teachers, not being afraid to communicate and provide little bits and pieces of, I think, because hearing it from, like you're saying, coming out of left field, it's going to be shocking, right? And so just for teachers to provide little moments of, or little observations, like, I noticed this. Have you seen this at home? And I've noticed this at school, just so that it kind of gets their wheels turning and wondering, is this something more that we need to look into? Putting it on their radar so that they are just being aware of it, so that if it leads to something where they do need services, then it's like, okay, well, I'm ready to pursue this because I know this is what my child needs. I've been watching it, and it only benefits them to have these services, so that, like you said, in the school age years, it's as if it never was an issue at all.
I've also, in the past, I've had, there's one specific family that I always think of, that when I was a preschool teacher, I had their child, and I frequently told them that, you know, your child is not meeting this certain milestone. I thoroughly believe that you should get them assessed for autism. And they were completely in denial, and they were very upset with me, but I didn't let it affect me. And a couple months went by and I'd say it again, and a couple months went by and I'd say it again, and they never did it. And you know, that was okay. I was doing my part. And they went on to pre-K, TK, and their teachers even said it, and they never did. And then I believe when the child was in 2nd grade, they actually ended up calling the school and saying like, hey, I just want to let you know that we got her assessed and she is on the spectrum, and I want to apologize for never, you know, taking you seriously. And it was very like heartwarming to know that, you know, like you're saying, you can be in denial and that's okay,
Mm-hmm.
but just kind of having that trust with your child's teacher that they're seeing things firsthand and they study this field, so they know
Yeah.
what is developmentally appropriate and what is not, and a parent might not know that. And so
Yeah.
just having that relationship with the teacher and asking questions. It's not, you should absolutely be asking, why do you think that?
Yeah.
What have you observed, so that you guys can be on the same page, a parent and a teacher.
Yeah, but no one teaches teachers how to have these difficult
Right.
conversations.
No. It's all based
And
off
that,
of.
I think, is so wrong.
Yeah.
Because then you could have a teacher who walks in and just walks up to a parent and says it blank with no observation,
Right.
no background, no knowledge about it. And they could be completely wrong. They are not
Yeah.
a doctor.
Yeah.
I am not a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you this is what it is. I can think things, I can observe things. I can suggest you to go see a doctor. But yeah, I think there needs to be classes about
Yeah.
that. I think
Yeah,
special
huge.
education in general needs to be taught more in colleges and in high school.
Yeah, because special education is a specialty degree that teachers choose to obtain, but it's not required for most early childhood and elementary. You may have, depending on your college, you may have one course that is required for special education, but it really just teaches you how to teach children with special needs or advice on, teaching them, but it's not a requirement usually.
Yeah. And so I think it's really important to note that even if your education in ECE is not really, providing all the insight and signs to be aware of in terms of special education, it's kind of on you to be like, I need to kind of dig a little bit deeper on this. And that comes with hands-on experience. It comes with meeting different kids with different needs and practicing. And then once you feel like, just as parents have inklings, teachers have inklings, like trust your gut. And if you feel like something is a little off, then do a little bit more digging and collect that data so that you can give parents an informed decision or an informed, observation. Because again, there's that trust, right? And so it's our job. It's our job to inform the parents of these so that the parents can decide what to do with that information. You are not supposed to decide, but the parent should.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's where it goes back to professional development. I've spent hours on the internet at night. Like, I have a child. I see this. I am concerned. What is it?
Yeah.
This looks different. Every child looks different. So how can I help them? I am a big believer in having children with special needs in gen ed classrooms. They learn amazing from other kids. However, you just need to make sure your teacher is trained enough to be able to help them and work with a team with the parent. It has to be collaborative.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think on the other end, if we are sharing this information with parents, I think the stigma and the shock of it and the denial of it may be due to parents feeling like it's some form of a reflection on them. And it is not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a reflection on them. It's just that your child has this set of needs. And we need to figure out a way at school, at home, with the whatever supplemental services to meet those needs.
Yeah, and there's lots of different studies that show that a lot of developmental delays, we don't know the cause of them. Autism, for example, there's no known cause to autism. There is speculations, but there's no scientific evidence to the cause of it. There could be, other things, but, genetics and pregnancy and things, environmental factors, like everything plays a role in it, but it's not a reflection on the parent or the family. You can do everything, quote unquote, right with your child in the first 12 months of their life, but then when they turn 2 years old, you're noticing that they're not talking, it's not anything having to do, you can read to your child every single night, multiple books, and they can still have a speech delay. It's nothing, it's no reflection of you or the teacher, for that matter, if they're in school. It's not a reflection on the family or the class or the teacher at all. It's simply comes down to the individual child themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no known best treatment.
Yeah.
Every child is different. Every treatment looks different. Every plan looks different. So just making sure that they have all the help that they can get to best succeed. That's all we want. That's all a parent wants.
What kind of types of early intervention services are out there for different obstacles?
Yeah, there's so many, probably more than I can name right now, but occupational therapy, physical therapy, ABA for children on the spectrum,
speech therapy.
Speech therapy, of course. Most common one right there, speech therapy. There's so many that are out there. Play therapy.
Yep.
There are more coming out every single day, too, that researchers are working on to best help children.
That's great. Have you noticed a difference in students who have received early intervention than those who haven't?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen huge improvements, but it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. So it's not they're going to go to one speech therapy and the next day they're talking. We have to be very, very proactive, and everyone needs to be on board, and it needs to be consistent. Consistency is number one. It is key. So I think just making sure that that is happening, and then that's where you'll see the improvements. I've seen a lot of kids who have done early intervention and not needed it in the future, which is amazing. Huge success.
I think that's also, it's interesting that you said that not every intervention works for every child. I know, like in my experience, children who have had speech delays, they've gone to one speech pathologist, didn't show much improvement, went to another, didn't show much improvement. Parents are getting frustrated and defeated, and then they go to like the third one, and now they're flourishing. And that's the same with like even, schools.
Yeah.
You can put your child into one facility and it might not be the right fit, so you move them to another. It might not be the right fit, you move to another, and it's perfect, And it's not one size fits all.
Yeah,
Especially
absolutely.
in early intervention.
It's also based off the person, the therapist.
Oh, yes.
And the child and how they react.
Mesh.
Yeah, and also inviting the therapist to school. I'm a big fan of that too. See how they're interacting with other children.
Yeah.
And speech often takes off after going to school and learning from other kids. They have to use their words to communicate what they want. So
yeah, that's a huge one, because we have families that do it in home and do it at school. And so we love to encourage for the speech therapist to come in the classroom, because those are the opportunities where it's constant. There's constant opportunity for promotion of speech, as opposed to at home. Of course, there's not as much stimulation. And so you want to place them in the setting where that coaching takes place, moment to moment as they need to apply it. And so that's something for parents to consider when you are looking for speech. And this is a whole nother topic that we'll dig deep on, finding the resources that meets your needs, shopping around, not just going with the first, just as you shop around for schools, shopping around for the services that chemistry wise, dynamic wise fits your child's needs, and also, providing the most efficient opportunities for the promotion of those skills that you're trying to develop.
And not just speech therapists too. In my classrooms, I've had occupational therapists come for infant toddler. I've had ABAs come for children with challenging behaviors. Speech therapists have come. Most early interventionalists are open to coming to the school. Some like to be in their own space, in their own office facility, and the child goes there, and that's great. And then there's others that will come onto the campus and travel to different schools around the area, which, like you were saying, Jamie, I think is more important in my opinion, just because you're seeing them in their environment that they're comfortable with, and with other children and their teachers, and the early intervention can get insight from the teacher. Whereas if you're just picking your child up and taking them to an office space with, the speech therapist or the art therapist, or, they might not show the same things as they would in their classroom.
And also for the working parent, at 5:30, their child is done talking, right? They've been talking at school all day.
Yep.
And it allows for them, the speech therapist, to see something different, them actually engaged and not tired or throwing a fit that they have to be there.
Yes. If the professionals are able to come to the classroom, you think, oh, maybe it's disruptive, maybe it's impeding on, the plan of the classroom. But in our experience, we haven't seen that.
I feel like that's almost the opposite.
Yeah.
Because I have seen like speech therapists, they've come onto campus and they're working one-on-one with the student, and then the other kids in the class come over to see what they're doing, and then they're listening to the story, or they're listening to the lesson that the speech therapist is giving, and then it just benefits everybody.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
I've actually noticed the opposite to that.
Yes.
I've noticed firsthand that it's beneficial to everyone.
Yes. And even for the teachers.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. The
huge.
teachers. I mean, I've learned a lot from the speech therapists that come, or the ABA therapist. And I've asked questions like, so why do you do that? Or this is how I do it, and I've had this kid for 3 years. So how about we try that approach? Because you're just walking in day one, and they're not gonna take.
That's really
that.
important.
Yeah. So we got to work together, and it takes a whole team. It takes a village to raise a kid.
Oh yes.
So we need everyone on board to help.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to have them all working together in one location, communicating all at once for this one child, but also observing, wow, look at this environment that is set up for this one child in particular. Is it conducive? They may have input as to how to adjust the classroom or how to adjust the program and the schedule that can benefit all the kids. That's what we've experienced.
It's so special to have those connections too, because I remember being a preschool teacher, and I don't even remember the ABA therapist's name or what she looks like, but I remember what she taught me when I asked questions about, like you're saying, why do you do this? Why do you say this? Why do you do it this way? And it's so important to have those firsthand experiences, because had she had never come into my classroom, I would have never known to try a different approach with a child that is, a certain way. It's so important.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, I became friends with an ABA therapist that came in my classroom because she was there as many hours as I was with the child, and I saw what incredible work she had. She saw what I had to offer. I saw what she had to offer, and we worked together to make an incredible team for this child.
Yeah.
That no longer needs services. Just the small wins.
Yeah.
That happen when everyone has the same goal in mind.
Yes,
absolutely.
Which is benefiting the child.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Brooke, for joining us today. Your insight has been so amazing to have, and I think it's so helpful for all of our families to also learn. We hope to see you again sometime soon.
Thanks so much for having me and letting me share some of my biggest passions. I appreciate it, and I hope everyone learned something today.
Thanks, Brooke.